Everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of news to share about Donald Trump's Gestapo, how they're acting like they're totally above the law. I also have updates to share about Kilmar Abrego Garcia and his case. Before I get into all that, though, please hit the subscribe button below this video. It helps more than you know. It is completely free to subscribe. And, if you appreciate this video, please also hit the like button, share it with everybody else you know. So here's the deal. Here's how Trump's Gestapo is out of control. A Guatemalan man and his wife were terrorized by ICE agents. They were driving to a dental appointment. And take a look at this video that the wife recorded that they shared online.
Nos sacaron forzadamente, a mí y a mi esposo. Me jalaron duro del carro. Nos jalaron y a mi esposo también lo trataron feo. Lo jalaron feo a él, a mí también.
So I don't know who that angry ginger is, but as you saw, he used a hammer to smash in a window of this car. This was a car of Juan Francisco Mendez. And then the ICE agents grabbed Mendez and they took him away. And the thing is, the family and their attorney claims that ICE wasn't even looking for Mendez. So Mendez has been here for about 4 years. He has applied for asylum. His wife and his 9-year-old son have already been granted asylum in the US. And so, this guy has been fingerprinted. He was fingerprinted back in December. His attorney said that the government had already done a background check on him. It showed that Mendez has absolutely no criminal record. So this was just completely unnecessary, completely cruel. I mean, that sums up the Trump administration, right? We also have news that an American citizen was detained by Trump's Gestapo. So 20-year-old Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, he was arrested last Wednesday. He was riding in a car. He was a passenger. The car was pulled over for speeding. And the officer, for some reason, which it shouldn't even be allowed, he asked Gomez to see his driver's license. Again, Gomez was not driving. So Gomez shows him the driver's license. It shows he's a Georgia resident. He is a U.S. citizen born in the United States. For some reason, though, that officer noted in his police report that Gomez entered the country illegally. I mean, other than racism, what other excuse could you possibly have for that? So Gomez was, like I said, in the car with other people. They were driving from Georgia to Florida. And Florida had tried to pass this law recently, which said that if anybody enters, if someone is undocumented and they enter the state of Florida, it's considered to be a misdemeanor. And so they'll be arrested and charged with a misdemeanor. There's two issues with this arrest, though. For one, like I said, Gomez is a U.S. citizen. He was born here. His mother even took his birth certificate down to the detention center to show that her son is a U.S. citizen. And then the other issue is that this Florida law, which they're using to arrest him, it had been temporarily blocked. At this time, it is under a temporary block by a U.S. district judge. So even though they proved that he was here legally, that he is a U.S. citizen, and even though a judge said, no, you cannot implement this law yet until we have a chance to review it and make sure it doesn't violate the Constitution, Trump's administration still demanded that the detention center hold Gomez for 48 hours. Now, luckily, because this received so much widespread attention, he was released on Thursday of last week. But this is what's happening. This is what's going on in our country, even to American citizens, just because they have brown skin. And, given what we've seen with the lack of due process and how Trump is just arbitrarily deciding to send innocent men to a hellhole prison in El Salvador without any justification, without any due process. And then he's saying, oh, well, sorry, can't get them back. I mean, nothing I can do. This is a life or death situation for some of these people. So, speaking of which, Trump pulled another stunt. Him and his team pulled another stunt to try to justify the deportation of Kilmar Obrega Garcia. Last week, Trump posted a photo online. He was showing a photo in the photo. It was of Garcia's fist. Now, Garcia has tattoos on the knuckles on his left hand. One is a marijuana leaf. The next one is a happy face. The next one is a cross. And then the fourth knuckle has a skull. In the photo that Trump posted, it says MS13 above each tattoo. There's a letter and a number, MS13. It's unclear if Trump's team wrote that in the photo to try to explain the tattoos, or if Trump's team is trying to pass this off as a photo of his real fist, because his actual photo, there is no MS13. It does not appear in any of the other photos of Garcia. And here's the thing. All of Trump's supporters online are saying, oh, see, Trump isn't trying to say that the MS-13 is actually on his hand. They're just showing you what those symbols mean. Okay, I get the M standing for, the marijuana, the S for smiley face, but how do you get a 1 out of a cross? And how do you get a 3 out of a skull? I mean, they are just so desperate to try to justify this unlawful action that Trump has taken. And, as other people have pointed out, MS-13 members have massive tattoos on their body and on their face, which say MS-13. They're not trying to hide it. They're very explicit. Garcia doesn't have anything like that on his body. And here's the thing. As I've mentioned before, 2 courts have now found that Garcia is not a member of MS-13, that there is no strict or, explicit evidence showing that he is a gang member. And if Trump really believed that he was a dangerous person, that he was a member of this violent gang, why didn't he fight it back in 2019? Right? But back in 2019, during the first issue, the first detention of Garcia, the judge said, no, number one, there's no evidence to show that he's a gang member. And number 2, you cannot deport him to El Salvador. We're going to release him back into the US, and he is under a no deportation order. Trump went along with that. Now, all of a sudden, this guy is so dangerous, he has to go to this horrific prison in El Salvador. Yeah, sure. And also, as I've been saying, if Trump has so much evidence against all of these guys, and Garcia in particular, why did he scurry them out of the country? Why did he surreptitiously remove Garcia without so much as a hearing to try to prove the case? It's so obvious. It is so obvious they are lying. So here's where things stand now. The good news is an appeals court slammed Trump for, quote, asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without the semblance of due process. That is the foundation of our constitutional order. And then the judge who authored this ruling, he is a very conservative judge. He was appointed by Ronald Reagan. And he pointed out something that we've all been saying for weeks. He wrote, quote, If today the executive claims the right to deport without due process and in disregard of court orders, what assurance will there be tomorrow that it will not deport American citizens and then disclaim responsibility to bring them home? And what assurance shall there be that the executive will not train its broad discretionary powers upon its political enemies? This is what MAGA doesn't get, right? Today, it's your rogue president, MAGA. It's your president throwing people in a foreign torture prison. In 4 years, it could be a liberal president. They could throw oath keepers in that same prison. They could make Republican lawmakers disappear into that prison. You want to take that chance? Want to let it ride? Let's play that game, shall we? And it's obvious this Bukele, the El Salvador president, he is 100% playing political games because he refused to grant access to Garcia and to the prison to Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen, who flew over there last week. Yet he has allowed Kristi Noem. He allowed her to come in and film her deportation porn for Trump's racist base members. And then the same day that he refused access to Van Hollen, the Democrat, Bukele allowed a Republican lawmaker inside, a guy named Riley Moore. Yeah. So very clear. I don't think Bukele realizes if and when there's a Democratic administration, he will be held accountable. His country will be held accountable. He better hope and pray that no one like me ever becomes president. I will make Donald Trump's retribution look like a child's tea party. In any case, like I said, Van Hollen, he did get to meet with Garcia. Or maybe I didn't mention that. But anyway, there was news of Garcia being transferred out of that black hole prison site, maybe to another facility that's not populated with actual criminals. So we'll see. And then there was another bit of good news that the Supreme Court blocked the Trump administration from deporting any other Venezuelan immigrants. Justice Thomas, Clarence Thomas, and Samuel Alito, were the only 2 out of the 9 who dissented. I mean, of course they did, right? The other 7 justices, they were all in agreement, and that included Trump appointees. That included Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, Gorsuch. Unfortunately, this is only temporary, but it came just in time because someone within the administration let it leak to the press that about 500 additional Venezuelans were about to be deported by the Trump administration. And according to the Washington Post, on Friday of last week, one of these men was told, oh, you need to sign this removal waiver so that we can take you out of the country. Well, the document was all in English, and this man only speaks Spanish. And then when he refused to sign it, the immigration officer said, well, this waiver comes, quote, from the president. And he said, you know, even if you don't sign it, you're going to be deported. Then why does he need to sign it? I mean, if you're going to deport him anyway, why are you trying to force a man to sign a document that he can't even read? So these are the disturbing games that the Trump administration is playing. I guess we'll see soon enough, you know, if he's going to abide by the Constitution, if he's going to, you know, abide by the laws that he swore to uphold. I am not hopeful. I'll just put it that way. All right, everyone. I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.